Welcome everyone, my name is Rigel and today let's take a look at what we know so far about Junior Eurovision 2023 just less than a week from the contest itself. That's right, Junior Eurovision is here. As I'm recording this, it is the 20th of November, which is a Monday, and as you can see here, the contest itself will take place on the 26th, which is this Sunday. So we are here, and in fact, as of recording this, the opening ceremony actually takes place less than 2 hours from now. So I'm hoping to keep this short and to get this up before that happens so you can watch this. But nonetheless, let's also move on to the basics. As you can see here, the contest will take place in the Palais Nicaea right here in the city of Nice in France, because of course France won last year. So yeah, Nice was also initially planned, according to rumors, for 2021. However, because of COVID, they didn't want kids going out of Paris, so they had to host it in Paris. And this year, the hosts will be Olivier Min and Nohi Tillman. Olivier Min, of course, also having been the English-speaking host back in 2021, and it looks like he will be fulfilling that role once again. There will be 16 countries in the contest. We will not have Kazakhstan or Serbia, but we will have Estonia and Germany. And speaking of countries, let's take a look at every single country taking part in Junior this year, very briefly, plus what we know from various sources of what their staging will look like or may look like. So first off, we have Albania, who are being represented by Viola Giseli with the song Bota Ime, which in Albanian means my world. And Viola won the ticket to represent Albania when she won the national final Junior Fest, which had undergone a massive rehaul this year, and encouraged a lot more of the singers to write their own songs, although ironically that didn't really happen with Viola, but I digress. So yeah, in terms of staging, we don't really know much. However, because the song is a ballad, it's not really expected to have particularly complicated staging or anything like that. So yeah, that's Albania. We don't know much about the staging, but we will soon enough in a few days when they start rehearsals, and we will get like live blogs and such writing about the situation. After that, we have Armenia, who are being represented by Young Girls with the song Do It My Way, which was co-written by Tokyo 9, and as also you can see here, Malena, although she was mostly responsible for the lyrics. This song is often described as essentially a K-pop song, from the way it's arranged to even the filming of the music video. So we can expect very vibrant colors for the staging, and other than that, we don't really know much else. Although I can say one thing, we have seen like Instagram stories of the young girls basically practicing their choreography, and what I can say is that they will be using handheld mics, and instead of something attached to the face. That will become relevant later when I talk about another girl group. But with that said, let's move on to Estonia, who are debuting in this contest this year for the first time. I just put 3 like redundancies in there, but whatever. Anyways, Estonia will be represented for the first time by Arhana, full name Arhana Sandra Arma, with the song Hoyame Koku, which in Estonian means stay together. The song is a soaring ballad, and we don't really know much in terms of the staging. However, we do know that the choreographer will be Alice Alexandridi, who has also staged other performances relating to Estonia and Eurovision. For example, Ollie from Estilao 2023 was apparently also staged by Alice Alexandridi. So yeah, she will be staging the Junior Eurovision performance as well, so that will be interesting to see. After that, we have the host country, which is of course France, who will be represented by Zoe Clausure with the song Cœur, which in French means heart. Now this is a pretty like upbeat pop song, and it's basically the same kind of pop song that they've been sending for the last couple of years, and it works. So hey, why not? Um, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But we don't really know much in terms of staging, but we do know the dancers and also the choreographer. There will be 5 dancers. I'm not going to read out their names, but basically all 5 of them have, at one point or another, also been involved in Junior Eurovision as dancers over the last 3 years. So we will have 5 dancers. So of course, Junior Eurovision, like adult Eurovision, only allows 6 people on stage at the same time, and the choreographer will be Sabrina Lonis. So or Loni, I have no idea. So that person will be in charge of the choreography, and Sabrina has also been the choreographer and stage director since 2018. So if that's it, let's move on to Georgia, who are normally a favorite to win the contest, but this year not so much. They will be represented by Anastasia and Renina with the song Over the Sky. Like with Estonia, this is a kind of soaring ballad, and basically Anastasia was selected through the national final Renina 2023, as opposed to Renina, who are 2 boys from the final of Renina 2022, who didn't win but were in the final. And after Anastasia won, it was decided for some reason that they would add these 2 boys to the lineup to represent Georgia. Now, the song, like I mentioned earlier, is a soaring ballad, and there's also like traditional Georgian singing techniques used in there, so that's very interesting. However, the song as a whole isn't super interesting, I would say, and I would say quite a few other Eurofans would agree with me as well. So I think most people would agree that this isn't really going to challenge for the win. In terms of staging, what we do know is that they will be accompanied by 2 backing dancers, not 3, so that will make 5 people on stage for the Georgian performance. With that said, let's move on to Germany, who are being represented by Fia with the song Ohne Worte, which in German means without words. The song is actually quite creative. It's about Fia trying to communicate with her deaf sister, and because of that, the song actually incorporates a little bit of sign language. Although ironically, it's American Sign Language, but I'm not gonna judge. Anyways, this was selected through an online vote. There were 5 candidates, and basically each candidate were singing about 1 minute of their unfinished songs, and at the end, Fia won out with the song Ohne Worte. So there's that. Some people think, including myself, that the beat is a little bit too pedestrian. However, they are trying to make the performance a little bit more interesting. Most notably, they're actually introducing some dancing. First off, there's going to be a dancer accompanying Fia on stage, and secondly, Fia herself has also been practicing what is basically a dance break. I showed the clip in my top 16 video, which you should totally watch if you haven't already done so, if nothing else, to find out my top 3 and my winner. But yeah, that's Germany. I think a lot of people would agree that this is by far the most credible German Junior Eurovision entry to date, but let's just see how it does on the night. With that said, let's move on to Ireland, who will be represented by Jessica McKean with the song Aisling. I've been told that's how you pronounce it because that's Irish and not English. McKean was selected through the national final Junior Eurovision era, which is basically a national final hosted by the broadcaster TG4 or TG Caher, which basically enrolls a bunch of young singers, and they basically just cover popular songs. They don't really discuss actual Junior Eurovision stuff on there, although sometimes they do get like Eurovision names, like for example Brooke onto the jury panel, for example. But on the show, they do not decide the song for the singer. So After Jessica McKean was selected, it took a while before it was announced that she will be singing the song Aisling to represent Ireland in Junior Eurovision 2023. And if you look at the songwriters list, you will find a very interesting name. That is Sophie Lennon, who represented Ireland just last year with the song Soulless, of course. Sophie Lennon also appears in the music video, and she actually does a high note there. And it was also confirmed later that Sophie Lennon will actually join Jessica McKean on stage and do backing vocals. In addition, it was also said by Jessica that she's actually going to be wearing a recycled dress. What that means basically is that the dress will be made out of plastic lids, apparently. So that will be interesting. Environmental queens, we love to see it, etc., etc. But the song is entirely in Irish, and I think the staging, we haven't gone much yet beyond the dress and beyond Sophie Lennon being on stage, but I would assume, since they aren't particularly rich, I would assume the staging wouldn't be particularly sophisticated, so there's not going to be like dancers or anything. So yeah, that's Ireland. Let's move on to Italy, who are being represented by Melissa and Rania with the song Un Mondo Giusto, which in Italian means a just world. Melissa was the winner of the first edition of The Voice Kids Italy, I believe, while Rania was a fellow contestant who also got into the final but obviously didn't win. So in the end, both of them were selected to represent Italy in Junior Eurovision 2023, and that's about it. Not a lot has been said about this. This is probably the least hype we have seen for an Italian entry at Junior anyway. So yeah, not a lot of people expect this to really challenge for the win, let's just say. Some people think it's dated. I think it's dated in a good way, but it is another like kind of slower type ballad. So yeah, that's about it. We don't know much about its staging. So with that said, let's move from Italy to their southern neighbor, which is Malta, who will be represented by Yulin with the song Stronger. Now, you can look at this songwriter list and come to your own conclusions. There's definitely another country involved here that may or may not be the 2024 host country, wink wink. And basically it's a ballad. It's a ballad that's talking about being stronger than before, and yeah, that's kind of about it. Some people have said that we shouldn't underestimate this, but I don't think this will do very well at all, and certainly not in the televote. This will not stand out at all. But yeah, that's Malta. I don't think I've seen anyone rank this particularly high. The highest I've seen was like 9th out of 16, and yeah, that's not great at all. So yeah, I don't think Malta is anywhere near challenging for the win, but a valiant effort nonetheless. Oh, and Yulin was selected through the national final jesc, which she had actually previously attempted 3 times already, but this was the 4th time, and finally Yulin, also known as Yulin Law, is finally successful. With that said, let's move on to the Netherlands, who are being represented by Sepp and Jasmijn with the song Holding On To You, which is both in Dutch and in English, although some people think that the song is better off just purely in English, but because Junior Eurovision rules, that's not really allowed. But anyways, they were selected through the national final Junior Song Festival. Basically, a bunch of candidates are kind of shortlisted through auditions, and then they are eventually like kind of grouped up into duets, into girl groups, boy bands and such. And this time it was the duet who were successful with the song Holding On To You, which I would describe as a kind of EDM pop type song, and it's a great favorite. It's kind of dated, I'll be honest. It sounds like something that would come out of 2014 or even before then, but regardless, I think it's still a bop. It's still a really well regarded song by many people, and yeah, I think this has a good chance at the very least to win the televote, if not the whole contests. With that said, let's move on to North Macedonia, who are being represented by Tamara Gruevska with the song Gazimi Gazimi Goy. The song is mostly in Macedonian, however, there is one verse in English, and it was mostly written by Robert Bilbilov, who also previously worked on other Macedonian entries like Proud from 2019, adult contest, of course. And what we know in terms of staging for North Macedonia is that the staging director will be, let me get this up here, Ljubka Gordon. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Ljubka Gordon will be the stage director for the Macedonian performance, and if you don't know who that is, don't worry, I don't either. But basically, she actually also staged the performances for North Macedonia back in 2018 and 2019, and of course 2019 was the very iconic Fire. So a lot of people love that, and so they have high hopes for Tamara Gruevska. In terms of the song itself, it's a quite classic Balkan ballad, I would say. Think Montenegro 2022. Although I don't think Robert Bilbilov had a part in that, but anyways, the song is very kind of classic Balkan ballad, but Tamara has a very mature voice and she sings really well, and that's why a lot of people like really love this. And there's a lot of ballads in this edition, but I think a lot of people would agree that this one is the best, and if there's any ballad that could win, this would be it. Although it's North Macedonia. How do you expect North Macedonia to win with a measly televote, right? So yeah, I think it's an amazing track. I'm just gonna say it now. Spoiler alert! It's my winner of the of this edition. If you haven't watched my previous video, but yeah, I really love this. A lot of people in the community really love it as well. So yeah, good luck to North Macedonia. Although beyond the stage director, we don't really know much about the staging, except Tamara actually, I think, said on Instagram that, and I quote, "You are not ready for this." So yeah, high hopes maybe. I don't know. In the meantime, let's just move on to Poland, who are being represented by Maja Krzyzewska with the song "I Just Need a Friend." There's a lot of songwriters here. I would say the song is kind of being held back by the Polish components, kind of like with the Netherlands. But it's kind of a heartfelt ballad, basically. And in terms of staging, what we have found out is that there will be 4 dancers accompanying Maya, and the LEDs will display photos of Maya and her family, so that will be interesting. Let's see if they can do like visual effects and stuff. I'm sure they will, but we'll have to see what happens. With that said, let's move on to Portugal, who are being represented by Julia Machado with the song "Where I Belong." Now, Julia Machado was selected through the kind of de facto national final, The Voice Kids Portugal. Also, I forgot to mention that Tamara was selected through an internal audition process, while Maja Krzyzewska was selected through the national final Shansa na Sukces. Anyways, back to Portugal. Julia Machado was selected through the kind of de facto national final, The Voice Kids, and what's special about this is that in Portugal, what they like to do is to use that as the selection, and then whoever was coaching the eventually selected representative will go on to be one of the songwriters for the representative's song. And in this case, that's Fernando Daniel, who was the coach of Julia, and as you can see here, he is also one of the songwriters along with these people. So basically, the song is another ballad, but this time a kind of more heartfelt ballad, and basically It's about bullying, and in fact, Julia doesn't actually live in Portugal. She lives in the United States, and she gets bullied quite frequently. And so she's singing this song to basically say that she wants to live somewhere where she belongs. So, with that said, let's move on to the neighbor of Portugal, and that is Spain. Now, Spain are being represented by Sandro Valero with the song Love You, which is a mostly Spanish but partially multilingual song, which has kind of, I would say, almost jazzy elements in there, almost bluesy elements, but otherwise it's a very sweet, very cutesy, upbeat song. And some people would actually consider Spain the one to beat, which is interesting. I'm not sure how to think about that because I don't really care for the song one way or another. But a lot of people are saying that Spain is probably going to win, and I wouldn't be surprised, but I wouldn't say it's a done deal at this point. But yeah, regardless, what we know for the staging for Sandra Valero is that she will be accompanied by 4 backing dancers. So, and also the choreographer is named Vicky Gomez. So that's interesting. And Sandra Valero herself was selected through an internal selection process, although at the time she actually said she wanted to sing a ballad, but obviously that didn't happen. The song is much more upbeat and much more fun and cutesy, but yeah, let's see how they do. Maybe we will see Spain win Junior Eurovision 19 years on. So yeah, that could be interesting. With that said, let's move on to Ukraine, who are being represented by Anastasia Demid with the song Kvitka, which in Ukrainian means flower. Now, Anastasia was selected through the national final. Well, it doesn't technically have a name, but a lot of us like to call it Junior Vidbir. But Vidbir is literally just the Ukrainian word for selection, but yeah, we like to call the selection Junior Vidbir. But like last year, the selection took place online mostly, with like pre-recorded performances and vote taking place online. And eventually, Anastasia came out on top, as most of the other songs were ballads. And this one is not a ballad. In fact, it's a quite upbeat and fun and I would say sweet song. Unfortunately, I'm not really into the song, but there are other people who are really obsessed with it even. And as you can see here, the song is completely written by a single person, Svetlana Tabarova, who was also the musical director for the national final. I wouldn't say they're favorites to win, but I would think that the staging will be pretty similar to the national final performance, which you can check out for yourself. And finally, we have the UK being represented by Stand Unique, or again, if you want to be very pedantic, Stand Unique 3, who are basically 3 girls whose names I can't remember at the moment, who were basically independently auditioned through an internal process, and then the jury decided that they would be better as a group, and they will be singing the song Back to Life, which is a kind of modern pop song with some people would say with garage influence. I don't know about that because I haven't listened to a lot of garage, but you do you. One prominent feature of the song is that it includes a basically whistle/recorder segment in the I don't know whether to call it a chorus or a drop, but there's a very prominent whistle/recorder thing there, and it can be kind of polarizing, but one way or another, I would say is definitely memorable, and I would argue that this is also challenging for the win. Recently, Stand Unique did a live performance of the song where they actually sang very well, not like completely perfect, but they sang pretty well. And one special thing about them, I try not to say the word unique in this context, but one special thing about them is that instead of having handheld microphones, they actually use microphones attached to their face, kind of like Lorraine did in 2020 2012 and 2023. And maybe they will win again, maybe they won't, but I would say they are definitely in the running to challenge for the win. So a final little recap of who I think are the favorites to win. We will have Young Girls from Armenia. We will have Zoe Clausure from France. We will have potentially Fia from Germany. Stepan Jasmine from the Netherlands, Tamar Gruevska from North Macedonia, Sandra Valero from Spain, and Stan Unique from the UK. With other countries, you can see right here a bunch of countries have said that they are not taking part in this year's contest. Obviously, we already had the participation list about a month ago at this point, and although I believe some countries in here are still kind of discussing possibly returning to the contest, there is one that I want to talk about that's in here, but we'll get to there when we get to the broadcasts section. So with that said, let's move on to production. First off, the visual design, you can see the generic heart logo, which apparently this year is the first year we will be having the heart logo for Junior, so that's interesting. In terms of presenters, you can see Olivier Min and Lohi Tillman, who will be the main presenters of the contest. However, there will be a third person, which is Ophenia, who is an influencer and I think TikToker, who is from France, who will be the digital ambassador. So that's going to be interesting. And I also read elsewhere that she is going to be basically a green room host, and she will be kind of interviewing some of the contestants. And finally, at least in terms of the presenters thing, we will be having the opening ceremony, well, today actually, in just over an hour now as I'm recording this, at the Hotel Negresco, and it will be hosted by Carla, who represented France in 2018, Bim Bam Toi, and also another person named Manon Théodet. So yeah, during the ceremony, you can see the delegations were welcomed by these people, and Ophenia, who is apparently joining from online for some reason, I don't know. And in the opening ceremony, one thing that people are going to look at is the draws for the opening country, or basically a country that will be opening the show, the closing country, and the running order position for France. So you can see here the position of France and which country will open and close the show. Sometimes you get really awkward ones, like I think 2021 we had Portugal closing the show or something like that. So yeah, that was interesting. And also we will have performances from the representatives at Junior Eurovision from France perform basically excerpts of their entries at the opening ceremony, which, as I record this, is happening in just over an hour. We don't have a lot of the spokespersons yet, but what we do have is some of the 2022 contestants who will be announcing some of the scores. The others are probably going to be announced by like local students, as they did with 2021, but we'll have to see exactly what happens. Now we are at the broadcasts section, and there's two things to note. The first one is, well, yeah, Lithuania. But before we get to them, one thing I actually want to talk about very quickly is Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan, they withdrew. There's no clear reason, but I think they're trying to kind of reevaluate their whole attitude to the contest and how the whole approach to the contest. But interestingly, a couple of days ago, they announced that they were not going to even broadcast Junior Eurovision 2023. So this could hint at them not really wanting to return, but we'll have to see what happens when next year rolls around. But for countries that aren't taking part, we have Lithuania, who are broadcasting on LRT, and it will be commentated on by Ramūnas Zilnis. So this is interesting because obviously this year we have Estonia. they will be debuting in the contest. And as I did not actually mention here, they introduced a new child safety protocol. And maybe because of this, or maybe because of Estonia debuting, Lithuania might be interested in taking part in the contest again, because if you remember, I believe debuted around 2014 or 2015, and then after that, basically they haven't taken part ever since. But maybe next year that might change, and we'll have to see what happens with that. But regardless, in Lithuania, if you live in Lithuania right now, you can watch Junior Eurovision when it happens, and it will be commentated by Ramūnas Zilnis. So that is what we know so far about Junior Eurovision. 6 days out from the contest. The slogan is Heroes, and hopefully we will see someone who aren't France or Armenia win the contest, but we'll have to see what happens with that. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed my commentary. Like this video if you did. Subscribe to this channel to not miss my upcoming videos, and also my upcoming stream where I live react to the results of the contest. I'm not gonna stream the whole thing again because some people will just watch from my stream. Some geo-blocked people will do that, but I will be streaming my reaction to the results of the contest, so definitely subscribe if you don't want to miss that. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.